Hey folks, how's it going? I told you I'd do another video. Here it is on this, the K-Bar 1277, the large heavy Bowie. I really like this knife a lot. Don't see a lot about it. It's discontinued now, I think. It's the only knife I have a lanyard on, actually. It's another one of these Creighton furled three-piece knives. Blade, some rubber, and a thingy. That's it. I seem to like them. I got a few. But this knife is actually really awesome. Yeah, I can't remember the price of it. I bought this a long time ago. I think it was over 100, but I'm sure it was. The sheath is total trash. It's over there. It sucks. Any of those three, from the cold steel stuff or the K-Bar, is better. But anyway, this thing is approaching like German Messer size from like the Renaissance. Now, why I mention that is because this knife here, being, let's call it, that's the closest thing generally I can think of, has ancient architecture. Maybe not ancient, but you know, like Renaissance era, high medieval age era, compared to these other ones. This knife has distal taper to it and some pretty complex geometry. Those dudes back in the day did way more with knives than we do now, generally. I mean, I know there's higher end companies, but this knife, for its price point and value, has some serious old time geometry that makes it way better than its price point and its feel. It handles and feels similar to this, honestly. And for the size difference, I mean, obviously it's heavier, but its balance point and weight, it has distal taper, as you probably see. It starts out at 6 millimeters and gently tapers from there. Now it has that bevel edge up there on top, not sharp. It's a total flat grind, as you see, all the way up to the spine. But that distal, before I get to that, see if you can see it, it also has a little bit of belly ground into it. You see that light under the edge? And I think that's on purpose, because it helps feed material into this convex belly. So it's almost like a very shallow version of this Emerson, this being super exaggerated, that same shape. But if you're draw cutting with these, it's almost like a rotary cutter. If you know what I'm talking about, those things for like craft work. It feeds the material into this in a nice smooth angle, and there's more weight on the ball, which helps them cut very well. Very well. So I mean, I've used this to process like brisket and other types of tough meat and stuff like that, before it's cooked, obviously. But yeah, this thing works good, and it balances nice, and it cuts well. It's not quite razor, like shaving sharp. It'll definitely cut hair off your arm, but it's not quite as sharp as this guy. Close though. I think it's a 1085 high carbon, old style steel, made in Taiwan. But man, this thing's awesome. It's got kind of a funky, the guard is kind of here on the sides laterally, but it feels really good. The handle on this is awesome. You can even choke back on it fairly substantially if you need to get a good, if you really needed to get a good chop for some reason. I mean, you might be sacrificing, like, you know, blade structure if you're really hitting something that hard, but it gives you a little extra reach too. So this has got a lot of cool complexities to it. It's got a little finger choil there, actually, that's kind of, you know, if you really want to work into stuff and get closer up on the blade if you're working. So there's a lot to this thing. I'm a sucker for these flat grinds with this machine curve cut into them too that fades out at the top. That's really neat. But yeah, if you can find one of these, I think there's like a more compact version of it too, shorter. They're awesome. The grip on this is I guess similar to that, but I think better. It's very, very substantial, very strong. So size wise, it's a pretty heavy knife. You heard that buzz in the last video on this crossguard, but You know, I don't know exactly remember the measurements on it, but this is a 7-inch blade, so you get a look at it. It is a formidable piece, and very, very, like I said, the geometry of it is way beyond what people think. Just seeing it, they're like, oh, a big flat, you know, piece of bar stock. No, it is not. It is very well designed, mentally thought out, and balanced exceptionally well. You know, it's a great fucking knife. It's awesome. Like, I would have no problem fighting with this. In fact, if I had to fight somebody with it, I would rather have this than any of these other knives. If it was like, you know, obviously some type of crazy planned out, you know, idiotic barbarian, you know, Roman gladiator type thing, you're going to have the advantage with this because it can chop, slash, hack, stab. It's a brutal tool. It's awesome. Obviously, you're not going to be carrying that around for much. I mean, at your camp or whatever, you need something big like that. I mean, if you had to process out something really big like a elk, or let's say a moose or something, you would probably be able to use this pretty effectively doing that. Yeah, it's an awesome knife. It's a shame they don't make them anymore, because this is, I wish I should actually have somebody make me a good scabbard for it. I mean, you know, it is literally the antithesis of this. Like, this like scalpel laser knife, I kind of call it, is so small and accurate. It's hard to describe. This is not lacking in accuracy, but you know it carries massive energy too, just by handling it. Yet it's not a hatchet, if you know what I'm saying. It still has good knife feel. It's an awesome piece. Anyway, man, I don't think in the video I did with this guy, I don't think I really emphasized how good this handle is. It's a really good handle on this Recon Tonto as well. Excellent handle, actually. It fits my hand, man, about perfect, I'd say. This is a little more filling, but it's also extremely good. This bird's head hook on the back is pretty awesome. Anyway, good knife. Don't see him around anymore, obviously, like I said, but for like almost a custom Bowie blade and a production knife, it's pretty killer. Later.